Well, good afternoon. This is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant afternoon, and this is just a quick little update about how the tiny home is coming along, and so we'll take a quick look around the site and show you some of the changes that have taken place. Very interesting. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we are ready for the containers. It's been confirmed that they will be arriving on Tuesday. The crane will be coming on Tuesday, and so both containers are going to be put into the final position as of 2 days from now. And I don't mind telling you, it was a lot of work to get this prepped up, ready to go like this. Anyway, as I say, once the containers arrive, then the real work begins. The deck and the walls have to go up fairly quickly of the what will be the living room, and the roof has to go on so we can have a good dry storage working area. So that will be the main priority in the weeks to come, and I will be documenting that as we go so you can see how it's done.
Well, I hear everybody say this old world is in a mess. Can't seem to find any happiness when there's people taking out, so few putting in. Feels like a mean old world. Feels like it's sink or swim. Greed and corruption, they're nightly news. Working people, they're singing the blues. They can't trust a priest or a local cop. When's all this heartbreaking gonna stop with this people taking out, so few putting in? Feels like a mean old world. Feels like it's sink or swim. Everywhere I go these days, well, I hear everybody say this old world is in a mess. Can't seem to find any happiness where there's people taking out, so few putting in. Feels like a mean old world. Feels like it's sink or swim. Sink or swim. Why sing all night and day? Some people ask me, why sing all night and day? When I get bad luck and trouble, I just sing my blues away. don't need nobody else. To roam. Yeah, I love to ramble. I just love to roam. I ain't got nobody. I ain't got a home.
Okay, so it's looking good. The difference in heights in the containers is not going to be an issue because we've got to put a roof on here anyways, and that will create some storage space above that container. But it is looking good, and you can really see what it's going to look like now. Yes, I'm quite impressed with that. So now you can see where the living room is going to go. We're in the process of ordering the wood right now, but in the meantime some more concrete pads have to go down to support this side of the deck. And then there will be a 15-foot wall going up there, believe it or not. And a 15-foot wall gives us the correct slope on the roof, so all the water will run off towards the back. Okay, busy morning. We started pushing in the crush to do the final leveling off. The fabric has gone down, and once we level this out here, there'll be another sheet of fabric going right over the edge, and that should deal with just about any moisture problems that we have. These are where the pads are going to go for the deck, and we should start pouring those. Well, I'll be forming them, putting the forms up probably tomorrow and pouring on Sunday. This is the drains now been covered up, so there's a little roadway up here. And that is now a nice clear open channel. That water will run down off that bank and just keep on going. And you know, I thought that I'd made a mistake getting the shorter container. This is 9'6" of the 40-foot, and the 20-foot is 8'6". But we decided that with that space we're going to use for, well, there'll be some storage area up there, but also the water pump and water tank can go up there to pressurize the water system. So it turns out that it was pretty fortuitous after all. And as soon as these pads come in, we've got a couple of friends coming over, and we're going to get to this, and hopefully it'll be up lickety-split, because as soon as this deck is put up, we'll have a working area, the walls will be up, and the roof's got to go on first. Those walls and the roof has got to go on, so we're nicely covered in, everything can stay dry. So just another quick update. You can see that we are building the boxes. This will be the pads for the deck, which will actually be the living room, and we should be pouring cement sometime this week. But yeah, this whole area has now been finished off. There is a sort of plastic material here, woven material. It's not tarp, it's stronger than a tarp, and it's to stop weeds and so on and so forth. So the interesting part will be actually getting this front wall up. This is a 40-foot by 15 wall, and we're not quite sure whether we're going to put it up in sections or whether we're going to put it all together on the ground and just bring a crane in and lift it up. We'll have to see. And I will be making a video of that because it should be interesting. But you can see very conveniently these containers come with a bottom lip, and we will be attaching a 2x4 in there and a 2x6 on top of that, and that will be bolted to that main girder support, and that will form the basis of the decking. Same on this side, so you have something to put hangers onto. The drain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, keeping this site completely high and dry. Anyway, very happy with the progress so far. We should be starting to put the deck on if the wood has arrived by the end of the week. The septic tank has arrived. This is more than adequate. Now you see, I come from a time when cottages in Canada, in Ontario anyways, for sure, ran on 45-gallon drums. They just cut the top out, throw some rocks and gravel around it, punch some holes in the side of the can, and there you go. That was your septic system. They've really changed the rules and regulations. Certainly a great idea for lakefront properties, because 45-gallon drums were not really adequate, and of course, you know, as time goes by, children are born, grandchildren, and there's a lot more pressure on that system. But anyways, this is more than adequate for a single person. It's actually bigger than I thought. It's going to be quite a hole. It's going to go in right here, and the weeping bed will go off down in this direction. This section here is going to be a workshop eventually, and a storage area in the back, a cool storage for dry goods and that kind of thing. Okay, so there you go, that's the work so far, and I've got to admit that basically I am the labourer in this situation, and Louis has been the mastermind, and thank goodness. Louis is an engineer by training, and so he has done really all of the measuring and the checking, and we both worked seriously hard on getting this project underway. But yeah, hats off to Louis. That's been a great help, and it's just an interesting point I want to make about, you know, it may sound like I'm patting myself on the back here, but it's about living with people and living in a community. When someone is strong in a particular suit, let them take the lead. You know, be the person who helps out, does the labouring, follows direction, and so on and so forth. Because firstly, it's a great learning experience to, you know, be able to work with someone who really knows what they're talking about. And secondly, if there's going to be some kind of, what can I say? You know, that you're not taking the lead and someone else is in charge, and you know, you're suddenly the subordinate and that kind of stuff. It's just not going to work. Okay, you know, I have certain strong suits, gardening of course, animal husbandry, you know, I was a mechanic, so I have my strong suits too, and I would expect, you know, other people to allow me to take the lead and work cooperatively along with me. And that's one of the big things that we're all going to have to this is one of the things that we're all going to have to learn how to do, is to basically put our egos on a shelf, because if you cannot cooperate and if you cannot negotiate without grudge bearing or animosity afterwards, it's just not going to work. And I actually did a study in communes in this area, about 20 years ago or something. We used to take the kids up to Lake St. Peter, and there was a lot of, it's the Bancroft area, and there was a lot of communes up there in the hippie day. And so I went around and I investigated to try and find if there was some still going. There was one called Dragonfly, but it was very, very run down, and they told me their story, which was a very common story, is that there would be one or two people would have this great idea to form a commune, and work together collectively and so on and so forth to, you know, be sustainable, grow your own food. A great idea. But what eventually happened was that the two people who had the idea ended up doing most of the work. Okay, and there was lots of people sort of hangers on. They would come over for meals, and it was great when things were, you know, happening that way, parties and so on and so forth. But when it came time to pulling weeds, they disappeared. So eventually, you know, the two or three strong characters in the picture would just leave, and then of course it would just fall into disrepair because, you know, nobody would organize, or, you know, nobody could put their egos out of the way to be able to work, you know, collectively together to, you know, achieve a common goal. Okay, now funnily enough, the one commune that we did go to that survived is called Madonna House, and it is up in Cumbermere, just north of Bancroft, before you get to Barry's Bay, and it is a fully functional farm. It is run by the Catholics, and they take in women who are struggling or having difficulty, so on and so forth, single mothers, and you know, in exchange for work, they allow them to stay there and feed them. And not that I'm what can I say? I think what it indicates to me is that if you don't have something else carrying you along, like faith of some kind, or belief in some kind of greater good, and that you're contributing to that just by, you know, behaving in a fashion that tends to enhance that particular universal frequency, shall we say. You know, it's very difficult to commit yourself to doing something which does take a lot of work. It takes commitment, and you have to be there. You have to be, you know, up and doing stuff. And sometimes it's not always easy to see why you should be actually getting out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning and digging holes in the ground, or stacking wood, or what have you. But when you have a faith or a belief in some kind of greater understanding and a greater good that reaches out way beyond me, even though it contacts me through my fingertips, my body, I'm in contact with it all the time, but it is a greater good. And that is a very motivating thing, because, well, it certainly pushes me forward, and it pushes me forward to try and not make the world a better place by, you know, rushing around trying to organize people, but by just not leaving a mess behind me. You know, just try and lead the kind of life that doesn't make too many waves, you know, in other people's lives, to disrupt their lives as you pass through. You know, try and be a bit more of a cooperative player. I think that's all that any of us can do, and to work for the greater good of everybody. And that is a worthy goal. It's a worthy goal in my life, and it has certainly kept me vested in the way I behave whilst I'm on this planet. Things seem to flow when, you know, you're going in the right direction, and you know, you are trying to help out as you go along, and make the world a slightly better place than when it was before I arrived. So anyway, I'm going to stop ranting now, or preaching. I guess I'm preaching, and I hope you don't mind me indulging myself in that. But it's so important, because, you know, community is what we're going to be needing going forward. Okay, and like I say, I've observed communities, whether it be in a village sense, or working on farms, or you know, these communities, communes that started up around the Bancroft area. They all need that if they're going to work. And I think that the times that we're moving into, regardless of what theory that you believe, okay, just the consequences are going to make the next few years pretty tenuous for all of us. And it's going to be an awful lot easier if we can try and get along together, cooperate. And if you want to start a commune, you have to go with that in mind, that yeah, you may be told what to do, or asked what to do, or directed, and be expected to follow directions at times, and that is no sacrifice. Anyway, I'm going to stop now, and if you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe below, and in the meantime, this is Houndog Steve wishing you a very pleasant afternoon, and we'll talk very, very shortly. You take care now. See ya. Bye.